Okay, Itamakskanathani, good morning. It is just after 9 o'clock in the AM on Sunday, October 1st, 2017, in the lunar cycle Awakatsiki, the deer moon. And I'm out here at Spopikimi, the Turtle Waters, aka Elizabeth Hall wetlands in Lethbridge, like I am every Sunday morning, just about throughout the year. This morning I don't have any students with me. It's cold and it's wet, so I can't blame them. Nobody showed up this morning, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do my thing anyway. I know that tomorrow we're supposed to get snow, a good dump of snow. It sounds like 20 centimeters or so, and I'm supposed to have a group of grade schoolers out here for a walk and talk. I don't know if they'll cancel on me or not, but and then on Wednesday I have a group of city employees out here for a bit of ecology training. So today is going to kind of be like my prep work. Take a walk around, look at what's happening, what I might want to show them this week, and I'll let you see what I see. I guess one of the first things that I can point out, even just coming straight off the trail from the parking lot, are these rose hips. This is, of course, prickly rose, one of our 3 species that we have here. And the summer's been hard on the roses, like all the other berries. A lot of these guys are starting to get sun-dried already, and they really shouldn't be. There's some that aren't, and the ones that aren't, if you squeeze them at this point, they're perfect. You want to, when you're harvesting, you just want to squeeze those right out, and if those squeeze out like that, and you can drop that seed batch, that's when you know the berry is ripe and ready for the picking. Now, of course, it doesn't hurt to continue picking these even after they've been sun-dried or winter-dried. They are a good winter berry and a good source of vitamin C, through the season, through the cold season. But right now is the best time to harvest them, just because that seed pack is so easy to dispense. There's a Napi story about how he sat around eating a bunch of these berries, and he didn't get that seed packet out of there, right? And he ended up giving him itchy bum from the seeds, and there's he's scooting around on his bum like a dog, and it starts making a bloody trail and stuff. Eventually he rips his own butthole off and hangs it up on a tree, and continues on. Comes to this lodge where there's a couple of ladies, and he tells them, back that way, I killed a deer, you can have it, go get it, it's right by this tree, right? And they say, well, we can't leave our babies. I'll watch your baby, go grab that deer. So they go out to do that, and Napi's watching the baby, but he's hungry. So he ends up making baby stew. He decapitates the babies and uses their bodies and makes a baby stew, and puts their decapitated heads back in their hammocks, in their blankets, and fixes it up so it looks like the babies are still there. And of course, all that the ladies find at that tree is Napi's butthole hanging on that stick. So they come back disappointed, and Napi's, oh, no big deal, I already killed a rabbit here, we can have rabbit stew, sit down and eat. And has the ladies sit down and eat with him, and then he takes off, and they don't find out what happened till he's gone. Weird end of the story, I know. But the point is, one of the points is, don't eat the rose hip seeds. Just the flesh is what you want. And so you want it at that point where you can just squeeze it, and the seed pack removes. Bang. Don't want that. The rest of it you can mash up, make it into cakes, dry them, preserve them, just eat them. Good stuff. I may or may not give full details of that story to the grade schoolers. See, that blue heron is still here. Take a closer look at him in a bit. I'm actually a little bit concerned about that heron, whether it's okay or not. Last year I had to catch a heron out here that just was sick and dehydrated and couldn't make it out for the winter. It ended up passing away at the Calgary Wildlife Rehab. So right now I'm on the shoreline, obviously, and right where the access road is coming in here to meet the trail. Found something of interest that I can show people this week. It looks like here is evidence of a turtle nest being dug up. Now this wouldn't have happened just recently because turtles should already be hatched. Okay, they should already be hatched and they'll be underground. Look at these. This is the leathery shard of an egg. But yeah, this is where the nest was, and something dug it up. And it's something that doesn't dig a big, really trench it up like a skunk or something. Might have dug this a little bit more. I'm betting this is a weasel's work, but can't be sure. Any case, yeah, I can talk about the turtles because right now in the nests that are viable that haven't been hit by predators, there should be baby turtles underground in those nests right now. They don't actually come out of their nests until the spring, but they hatched already. They hatched probably a month ago, and they're just gonna stick it out in that nest cavity over the winter. And then when things thaw, they'll come out and they'll enter the water. This wasp nest here, just under this leaf, is the entry hole. It's still doing okay. A lot of times in this season, the skunks will go around here and they'll dig up these wasp nests and they'll eat them. They'll eat the larvae, they'll eat the adults. I find, in some of the skunk nests, I find lots of skunk droppings that are just absolutely full of wasps at the end of the winter from digging up these nests. But that nest won't last long because we're going to get into some serious cold here. We're going to have, like I said, we're going to have snow and we're going to have sub-zero temperatures at night. Pretty soon those wasps they'll die off, and just the queen will go out and find a place under some leaf litter in the forest or under a log or what have you. She'll find a place to hibernate, and then she'll have to rebuild the colony all over again next summer. Here's a closer look at that heron. I might actually pop over there on the wet meadows on my round today just to test whether or not the heron would fly off, what kind of strength it has. I don't want to wait this year until it's almost dead to catch it and have it not survive the rehab experience if that's what it needs. Here we have a group of American Wigeons at the pond, and Wigeons do breed in our region, but they've never nested here at the pond, and not in at least the last 14 years that I've been watching things out here. Very different look than the mallards, of course, but they stop by Spokane here twice a year. At the beginning of the season, they're one of the very first migrators to come through, and then at the end of the season, they're one of the last of the waterfowl to leave. So this is their time here. The water's really low, so they can access the milfoil, which they like to eat. Previous years, when the water was high, they had to rely on the coots, another kind of water bird. They had to rely on the coots. The coots would go down and get the milfoil for them and bring it up for the Wigeons to eat. Coots haven't nested here for several years, ever since the city put in a dock right over top of one of their favorite nesting spots. Before that, we used to have 3 pairs of geese that would always nest here. Anyhow, yeah, the Beaver Lodge is still very exposed because of the low water. I'll have to get on that side to check and see if they're caching any of their winter food yet that we can observe. I am noticing that in the water here, and it's going to be really difficult to show on film, I think. Here, might be able to show this one. There are still painted turtles. Let's see. There you go. There's still painted turtles surfacing. And they will continue to be active until the water cools quite a bit. So I'll expect to keep seeing them for a couple of more weeks out here, even as the air temperatures that we're exposed to outside of the water get pretty cool. Here we have a lesser yellowlegs still hanging out. Most of them should have been on the migration already out of here, but a few stragglers. The Blackfoot name Otkoika yellowlegs comes from this bird. These guys flying by right now are wood ducks. 3 wood ducks. They would love to nest here. They always come and check it out. The last several years in a row, they've come by here and look like sometimes they stay pretty far into the breeding season, so I'm expecting them to breed, but then they just can't find the nest cavities that they need. Last winter, I talked about possibly building some nest boxes out here on the water for them, to entice them to nest here, because I've never watched them. You know, one of the things that I like to do is watch the way that each different water bird, does its child rearing, because they all have different strategies, eh? So I would love to have the wood ducks nest here as well. Something I'm considering. Got another wood duck couple here. It's like a male and a female on this island. There'll be a nice feature to show people this week through binoculars. Talk about them. We also have on this island a ring-billed gull, lone ring-billed gull, still hanging out. A lot of them have been migrating. I've seen them take off already, a lot of them, but there's always going to be the stragglers. Before long, we won't see them anymore for the season. They won't come back again until the goose eggs are ready. The end of the winter. Easter. Just scoping things out down here. Water's low enough that I'm able to walk right through the marsh, where it's usually only duck. Just figured I'd come out here and see if there's anything interesting to show them, given that they could access it out here. Can always talk about some of the reeds out here and their traditional uses. But yeah, gonna see if anything else pops up, like old nests, or if there's any different animals or plants out here that they wouldn't normally be able to see. Just here at the Beaver Lodge, turtles, and it does indeed look like they've began to cache their winter food. Right there, it's starting to come off over the surface, so that's different than last week. So yeah, the winter food caching has begun. Just moving through the thick reeds of the wet meadows. And somehow or another, that heron has managed to slip me. I don't know if it actually flew off. Maybe something else while I was down at the other end of the pond caused it to get nervous and fly off. If it did, that's good. But if it's just hunkered down because it saw me coming and it's just slipped me, that's not so good. Yeah, I don't see it here. Of course, I can't forget to show the bulberries, which at this point and later through the week, they're pretty much ready to harvest because we're getting those sub-zero temperatures. But I'll demonstrate on video my harvest technique later this week for the bulberries. There's a way to pick them. You don't just pick them by hand. It's a way to do it very efficiently and get a lot of berries in a single round out here. But yeah, I'll show that later in the week, and I'll probably demonstrate it a little bit to the groups that I bring out here. Well, pretty much come full circle back to the near to the parking lot with the rose hips and all of this, and no sign of the heron, so it must be mobile enough for now. Yeah, there are of course other things, other features out here that I can talk about, but those are the new and exciting things that are happening that I'm noticing at the moment. So I'm definitely going to include those things that I showed here today in my talks this week. And then who knows, you know, any given day you walk out here, something new can be happening, so you got to be ready to incorporate that as well. But you know, the usual question that I run off of during these walk-in talks is kind of, what time is it? You know, in nature time, in ecology time, in our like real human time as human beings, what are we doing out here right now? Or what would we be doing if we were acting human? Well, we'd be harvesting rose hips, we'd be harvesting bulberries, probably be hunting deer. It's that time of year. But I like to ask what time it is for other animals and stuff too, right? So it's time for the Wigeons to gather, to move. It's time for several species to be on their way, but you got stragglers, you know. It's time for the beavers to gather their winter food. There's all kinds of things going on out here. Time for the deer to be mating. All of that. So yeah, I guess that's a walk for this morning. Ken.